Hey guys, Steven here. I managed to top YCS Niagara Regionals with Pure Raisol. My friend Thomas also managed to top with Pure Raisol. So the deck still is by all means alive and well. A lot of people prefer the Phoenix version, but the main thing is that when you look at YCS Anaheim and Trick that one, it was built to beat the mirror match in the form of like Pure Raisol versus Fiendsmith, but now it's built for the mirror match in the sense of Fiendsmith cards in the deck. And so Pure just gets more percentage points because everyone's on Bestials, on Nib, which are very good versus Fiendsmith cards, but are worse versus Pure. Plus, this deck is still Raisel. It's still the deck that's dominant in the OCG. It's still going to be dominant here, even if we didn't have Fiendsmith cards. So you still blow everything that's not Raisel or any other variant. So the deck's still alive. Well, if you don't want to buy Fiendsmith cards, this deck's still completely viable. All right, getting to the list. It's relatively standard engine lineup: 3 Ice, 3 X, 3 Sword, 3 Bonfire. The biggest selling point of the deck is really just this card and being able to lead with it. The fact that you have to go into Fiendsmith cards first, or lead with Ice, it just makes the Fiendsmith version slightly worse going into boards. Yes, the Fiendsmith cards offer a lot of pushes as well, but like that's only good when you really start with Engraver. The other cards are a bit clunky to start with, especially when you draw the cards you don't want to draw. I just love being able to start with X, Sand, the Aggregator, Punish, especially when you look at the other tech cards. You know, it turns talents on immediately because they have to use their effects immediately when you push with Aggregator. Other engine cards, we have the 3 Desires and the Pot for consistency. I play Prosperity now just because like this deck isn't the most consistent deck in the world, and so having the extra star is fine. If you draw like multiple draw cards, you're going to discard off the Dugaris line or a node. And then other cards, Double Cross, 1 plugin, 1 node. The big thing now is I'm playing Double Cross because I think this is better going second into the Fiendsmith boards. If you hand shot them once to stop them from making full board, it means that they don't have Detonator plus Aggregator, so they can't immediately stop this. When you're playing a bunch of Pure Mirrors, when you start, if you have the Aggregator with, under the Detonator, it means that even if I negate their Detonator with the Aggregator from X, the Aggregator is still always going to trade with Cross, so it's not good going second and pushing into boards. But a lot of times when you hand trap defensive players, they're not going to have that luxury, and then this card trades more effectively, and it answers, you know, the Paradise Send on Desiree or stops a neighbor or something like that. Snow Chop, I still think that's written more. I don't ever want to draw this card. So that's for the actual engine. The non-engine, 3 Ash, 3 Veiler, 3 Fua, and 3 Imperm. So those are your hand traps. I play a bit less now. I think overall, like, the strength of Fiendsmith cards is being able to play through hand traps, and same with Malice. So like playing a large amount of hand traps doesn't really make much sense because you're just playing into the deck's strengths. You still want enough to trade on top of things, like try to stop the max board or have on top of your board, but you really don't need to have 18 plus hand traps. So I think pseudo breakers are better. And the big thing is like with Fiendsmith cards, Dweller trades with all of them, going first or second, and so like when you have any of these hand traps, the ones that actually trade, you can just hold for duel, stop the duel. They're on Caesar plus the Paradise Engrave, X just outs the whole board. You stop the Caesar, you make duel or Dweller before making duel to stop the Paradise, and then you just push through it. So you really don't need to open multiple hand traps into a lot of the matchups. You just need to draw the one. People say like, oh, you know, you need more for Malice. I'm happy taking the Malice L game 1 if I lose a die roll. I think you're favored enough going first. That's fine to just you know, take the L game 1 and have post side 2 of them on the game 2 and 3. Other tech cards, 3 talents because everyone's on talents. I think this is worse earlier in the format because people did boards where this card doesn't trade like the Bagel board, but into Fiendsmith Raisol, it's always trading. Another thing to point out is a lot of times I'm going to look at hand because, like I said, like X out Caesar plus Paradise, so you don't actually need to have talents take anything. Like your X trades with the whole board. You're just looking at the hand to make sure the duel resolves, or if the duel can't resolve, then you're making whatever half board you think you can through their hand traps. 3 Book of Moon. I play this over Eclipse because I use this more defensively. Being able to stop their first action and just book it is super good. Meaning if I have board like Detonator and you know whatever else, booking something like stop a Chaos Angel, make them lose a name, or using it to protect my duo is just super important. Overall, the best thing about this card is just the versatility. It's always good. It's always useful. There's never really any downside of it. Yes, you can argue that maybe I should have more hand traps, but I think that like leading X with this deck and having a hand of full names plus breakers is really good. Like there's a lot of times where I push through full Fiendsmith board or full Godbreaker board, which is a lot of interruptions if you don't stop that deck completely. And just having the ability to do whatever you need with it, I think is just the main selling point of this deck, or this card in the deck. And last card is 3 Strikes Naturally. I think this card's just insane. You're still playing value games. If you open any board plus strike, you basically win the game. And again, most of the time you're able to get clear the board and force a pass back, and then this card even then on the pass backs, just super good. So that's the main deck. I'm on 41 cards. You can actually cut down to 40, but I don't think the math changes that much when you're switching between 40 and 41. Extract 2 Detonator because Cash Shards are falling out of favor, so you don't really need to have the 3rd one. Double Duel. I always send Duel if I open the cross. I shouldn't say always. If I'm going to send a Raisel name, I'm sending the Duel just to play on Bestials. You can still send aggregate 1 or 2 aggregates first turn if you just want to respect Imperm and don't want to use cross to protect. I play 2 still. Like it's just really nice being able to lead with 1 and then attach it, then have another one to push next turn. And then just your variety extra deck with rank 4s, 1 Dagaris, 1 Exciton, 1 Bago, 1 Tornado Dragon, 1 Dweller, Castel, Dagusto. This one's kind of weird, but at the end of the day, it's just rank 4s. You can play whatever one you want. You can play Zeus as a flex spot. I just decided to try this because it helps in grind games, because when you're putting 2 cards back with cross, it's not that much in the grind game. It's something, but you're only getting 1 extra Z off this. Where if you do this, you're getting the +1, hopefully drawing to non-engine, especially when you've gone through a large amount of your engine cards already, and you're putting 3 back, so it means your next push is going to be stronger, because next turn you're going to have more names in deck. This card should be in every match, because you just force his back row, meaning your duo is more likely to resolve. And Dweller is insane. It's the whole reason to play Pure is because you don't lose a Dweller. You can make it super easily, and like going second teams with Raisol boards, there's a lot of games where it's like they end with Caesar thing. I hand shot them once on the duo, and then it's like make Dweller first. After they set up the Paradise Engrave, talents look a hand, summon the duo is resolving because they ripped whatever they have, and now I'm just ending with Dweller Detonator after the duo resides with cross. They're not winning on the fastback. And the last 2 cards are 1 Typhon, 1 Donna. This card's kind of fake, but like I said, it's just a flex strike. This card should always be in this. You have too many hand trap boards where this card's just insane. And then the side deck. So the side deck is a bit weird. I decided to respect Malice a bit more, but in a different way, where I don't want to play Wars with Crossout or with Thrust, because every single one of them is on at least one of them. And what happens is if they have either Crossout or Thrust and you just have Lancia, you lose the game instantly. And I'd rather just try to play like cooler cards to beat the board that don't lose those cards, because when they have those, draw those, and you don't play in them, now you just have to deal with the board, and tech cards work well into it. So 3 Bell, this is useful on your turn to hit whatever. I don't think I need to explain this. And then the 2 sets of spicy cards is Burial. So what this card does is when they go to White Barn and banish everything, so you have 3 banished, you go Burial, it targets 3 banished monsters and you put them back in the grave. And so if you move the location, they're a different card, so they won't summon. And so this is just a breaker that hits the banish zone. People talk about Foolish Return, but the issue with Foolish Return is that if they have more Bish Shields or whatever, more ways of banishing, it doesn't do anything effective, because they can just, add another one on top of this, where they have no actual additional ways interacting with the banish pile. And so this just trades with a large amount of interruptions when they try to reset the board on your turn. And again, playing around Thrust, playing around Crossout. And then 3 Anti-Magic Arrows is the other card I tried playing. What this card does, when you end the battle phase, you activate this, your opponent can't respond, and they can't use any spell or traps the rest of the turn, which means that if they have some weird board, this card just ends it. Like if they haven't actually gone into any of their interruptions, and it's all based on the trap resolving, then they lose everything. If they have imperms or whatever, not books that they've drawn off all their draw cards, those don't work either. And so it's just a way of pushing through things. Like, yes, it doesn't turn off all interruptions. This is going to have the Red Ransom Banish, I believe. Is that Red Ransom?
Yeah.
Red Ransom Banish, and then they'll still have Bish Shields or whatever else they decide to end on. But your other tech cards are usually good. You do that first in the main phase, answer them, as then you turn off the rest of it, resolve Exciton, you set up, and you're in a good position. And then last card is just naturally 3 Judgment, just from Mogul first cards. The one thing with these, I'm still testing these. I resolved this once, I just auto won the game. I didn't play against Malice at this regional, but in general, I like this approach more because you're not just coin flipping games. You're actually trying to have tech cards where it's like, okay, even if they draw their tech cards to beat your tech cards, they're not going to work against these ones. Whether they're better than just playing Lancia, you can argue that, but I really just hate having those kind of die roll situations where I'm not being creative with deck building, and if they draw it out, I lose the game. And then, sorry, the last card actually just the 3 back for removal, which I'm super high on this format. It's good versus Pure. I just slide into everything. It just trades with everything. There's so much non-engine, people are going to set books, cross out, imperms, and so this is always making at least a 1-for-1, if not trading with a larger part of the board. So that's the deck list. Like I said, I think Pure is still a very solid deck, and from the tier list, as much as the people have been talking down on it, they still rate it pretty high. And I think the main thing is going into SUDA format when Dweller just becomes so much better. I think this is the main selling point of the deck, and I think it's still going to be a top tier deck. Thanks.